everybody, it's Liz with Love here, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are a regular here. Today I have a speed build for you of a tropical island mansion. I called it the Island Paradise here in Sulani. I built it on the 50 by 50 shipwreck site, and this actually was a build that I created for a shell challenge, and the build took me about 12 hours to complete. And so that's why I am bringing you this speed build in two parts. Today I am going to be doing the landscaping, I'm going to be doing the outside, and I'm going to be figuring out the floor plan. And in the next video, probably coming either in 2 or 4 days, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a break between the two, so it's not, you know, these two coming after one another. I am going to show you the furnishings and everything on the inside. So today is just gonna be landscaping and the outside for 25 minutes straight. So this is gonna be quite a challenge voiceover wise. So I would say wish me luck, because I think I'm gonna get to quite a rambling phase at about like 10 minutes in, where I'm just not gonna be able to say anything because I won't know what to say. So maybe we'll talk about something other than the build at that point. We'll see how it comes. I haven't figured it out yet. So for this build, I wanted to have, obviously, the little mansion. It's not a mansion, it's like a, I don't know what to call it. It's like a mini mansion. It's a mini mansion on top of like a little hill, and there's a few ponds with waterfalls coming from one to the other. So it took me quite a while to figure out how to put down the waterfalls. If you don't know, the waterfalls are in Island Living Debug, and you can just get them from there. But they are quite specifically like cascaded from one point to the other, so I had to put around quite a few rocks so that it looks natural. And if you load this build up in live mode, the waterfalls flow down really nicely and it looks really pretty. So I'm glad I took the time to really figure that out, because you know, these waterfalls can also be really easily screwed up. And that was something that I almost did, because at one point I even accidentally deleted them, and then I had to put them back in. And I had to reconfigure everything, and that was quite stressful. So if you're planning on building something with waterfalls, put aside some extra time for it, because it's probably gonna take a little extra time to figure out how to put them down and everything. And I wanted to line this whole build around with rocks so that it, you know, ties in nicely, and also it covers up the slopes, because the slope on the back of the mansion is actually quite steep, and I didn't want it to look unnatural. So that's why I just put down a bunch of rocks everywhere. And the first 10 or so minutes is basically me putting down rocks. So if you want to skip the rock part, yeah, just skip 10 minutes. No, just kidding. Don't skip. I'm gonna talk about interesting things. So I am recording this the day before you are watching it, and the eco lifestyle live stream is just about to happen in a few hours. So I'm really looking forward to that. So while you are watching this, the live stream has already happened. So tell me in the comments what you thought about it. I'll tell you in the comments as well once I upload this video. I am super excited for the new pack, for the eco lifestyle to come out, because I am quite a sustainability conscious person, I like to think, and it's a big part of who I am. So I am really excited for this pack to come out, and I have been waiting for a pack like this for years. Sometimes I hear people on social media say like, oh, we didn't want this, and I'm like, maybe you didn't want this, but I wanted this for years. So I am super excited about that one, and I will be uploading a build in the next couple of days as well, where I build an earth ship and I talk about the eco lifestyle pack, because an earth ship is sort of like a sustainable home concept. So I am going to be building that while chatting in depth about that pack. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that, because I think that's gonna be quite a fun video. We can have a chat in the comments about what you think and things like that. And yeah, I'm super excited. I feel like I've said that like a billion times already. So back to the build. I did want to put the trim on the pools in the first place, and then I realized it would make the waterfalls disappear, and I was like, no, I don't want that to happen. It's gonna happen at some point in this build, but I didn't want it to happen. So I just decided to align it with rocks as much as I could. And since these rocks are debug, your Sims are just gonna walk through them, I think. They shouldn't have an issue getting into any of the pools because the rocks are debugged. And you can kind of use this video as well as a tutorial for building natural ponds and things like that, because quite a bit of this video is just me trying to make these ponds look natural. And so the first thing that you obviously want to make sure is that you can't see the edge of the pool. And if you can, that it's one of the, more natural looking edges. You can choose one of the, I think in Jungle Adventure and Get Together, those two have some really nice natural looking trims. But I wasn't using either of the two in this build. Exciting news, this build is actually 3 packs only. It's only Get Famous, Island Living, and Seasons. So I'm not using anything else besides those 3 packs and base game. So I think it's already my most popular build on the gallery, because builds with less packs used always get so many more downloads than if you use a lot of packs. And I like to do limited pack builds sometimes, but they do get more downloads on the gallery and things like that, and it's more of a challenge. But I don't do them that often because I'm like, well, since I'm fortunate enough to have all these packs, I should be using them. So that's why I don't do as many limited pack builds as maybe you would like me to. But if you would like me to make more, definitely let me know and I will. And if you have any suggestions for what limitations I should have on packs, definitely, do let me know that, and I would love to make that happen. As I was building this, I found that there's like 2 to 3 packs that I always use in every build, and I was really missing them in this one. And that is Parenthood. I use Parenthood so much. Laundry Day, because of all the cute baskets, and it actually goes quite well with Island Living. And Cats and Dogs, just because I use cats and dogs in absolutely everything. There's quite a few nice decorations and things like that. Oh, and now getting back to the build, you can actually see me start figuring out the floor plan, because I gotta tell you, at this point, I had been building for about 6 hours, but then my computer crashed and I lost about half of that footage as well as the progress on that build. So, of course, I was just furious at that point and I was about to rage quit this build. But then I was like, you know what, I gotta finish it. It's a solid challenge and it's a really cool concept and I just wanna do it. So that's why I just gathered all the rest of any willingness to keep building, and I decided to just figure out the floor plan for now and then come back to redoing all the landscaping, which I at that point had already done, but you haven't seen me do because that footage got lost. For this build, I actually had an inspiration in mind from Robin Bella, who built quite a similar build. So I just really loved that, and I wanted to create something similar myself. So that was the inspiration. I'll link Robin Bella's Twitter down below because she's an amazing builder and she really deserves more followers because she like her builds are just stunning. Anyways, now you can see me after I finished the floor plan going on to figure out the outside of the build itself, and I actually finish like the build outside before I move on to landscaping again, because there's still plenty of landscaping left to do. And I love using these kind of like, what do you call them? Is it like a gazebo when you have that? I don't know the proper word for it, but you know, when you have, instead of having a ceiling, you just have those little fences in the square patterns and you have some plants over it. I just really love the look of that, and I thought it really suited this particular build. And so I did it like all over this build. And since this was so awful to roof, because obviously it was a shell challenge, you were meant to suffer, I thought that instead of roofing most of the stuff, I would actually just leave flat roofs and do the same pattern as I did on the little gazebo overhang kind of things, and just put plants over it, but there's not gonna be like a hole through it. It's just gonna be the ceiling. So that's what I did, and I think that's one of my favorite things about this build, because I think it just looks really pretty. And you can't see it like right now, but this build is roofed with the Island Living trims, and for some reason, like the trims that go with the Island Living roofs, they always somehow bug out for me, and like part of them just go black. And I don't know why that is happening, but in this build I was like, oh, I'm just fed up with it. Yes, you can really see it now, can't you? Yeah, that always happens. And I really wanted to use this roof, and I really had like no other roof to use for this, and I didn't want to make the whole build flat because then it would look way too boxy. So I was just like, you know what, I'll just leave it. Maybe it will disappear when I download it or something. I don't know why this happens, but this happens quite often with Island Living roof trims. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know in the comments if you're having that problem as well, because it's annoying. But since we're talking about bugs, do you guys know about that bug in Get Famous that's driving me crazy? Like in the acting career, your Sims just won't go to work if you went through a loading screen between getting the gig and going to work. And that's like, I got Get Famous quite shortly before that bug started happening, about a month ago, and I was so furious because I had an actress who was just about to master the acting career, and she was just about to fulfill her acting aspiration, and she had like a super wild social life and everything, and then all of a sudden she wouldn't go to work if I went through a loading screen. But that was like 3 days that I couldn't go through a loading screen, and she had a whole family, so like there was no way I was not gonna go through a loading screen. And then once I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it, I'm not gonna go through a loading screen, and then accidentally my game crashed and I had to go through a loading screen, and she wouldn't go to work again. So that's annoying, isn't it? Anyways, that is one bug that I really hope we get fixed soon, hopefully with the next game update, because there was a Get Famous bug before that, which was that Sims wouldn't tick off their tasks for the acting career, or when they did, it would just disappear when they traveled, but now they just won't go to work at all. I wish we had the old bug back, because this bug is even worse. Anyways, now I am back to the landscaping on this, now that I have put down all the plants on the build itself, and I'm just using this, I think it's called Napuka, this grass, like the Hawaiian grass kind of thing. Yeah, I'm using that to line the hill in the front of the house, because it just looks so much cuter with that, and like not bare at all and everything like that. And I love using this grass in basically all of my builds because it also looks kind of like moss. So when you have like a forest build or something like that, this is actually also a really good item to use in that. And then of course I'm gonna spice up that plain grass with some more plants and trees, and these are like plant slash trees, the little pink and green ones I was just putting down, but you know what I mean. And I love the little leaning palm tree that we have. Well, it's not little, I don't know why I just called it little, but the palm tree that kind of like leans over something. I love adding that to my builds because it makes it look so different and so much more realistic than just, you know, having perfect palm trees everywhere. And I also added a few of those like flower patches around the Napuka grass so that it looks a little more, you know, lively and colorful. And basically, yeah, the rest of the build is just me putting down a bunch of plants everywhere. And then I'm gonna go on to furnish the outside. So this part actually has the outdoor furniture and things like that as well. And now you can see, for just a second I paused so you can see the build from the top, and it just, I was loving how this was starting to turn out. And I love overgrown builds, you guys know that. Just overgrown builds are my absolute favorite thing to do in The Sims. So I had so much fun with this. Seriously, I was at the end when I was doing the furnishings, I was kind of like, oh my god, I want this to be over already. I've already spent like 12 hours on it. And I was also working with quite a tight deadline because it was a shell challenge. And I was like building this within 2 days, over 12 hours. But I was really enjoying it, even though at the end I was like, let this be over. Usually I would probably take more time to finish a build like this. Like if I had a complex build, I wouldn't build it over 2 days, but since I had a deadline that I was working with, it was kind of stressful. But usually when I build, I try and take it slow and like not push myself. So usually I pre-record my builds about a week before they are posted, so that I do have that extra time that if something goes bad, I know I can spend another 1 or 2 days on it, or if I'm not just not feeling like it, I can take a day away from building this and I can just play or something like that. Even though since I started my channel, I have rarely just been playing and not recording, and it is kind of stressful. I want to go back to just playing for myself again, because that's one thing that nobody really tells you about starting a Sims channel, is you're probably not gonna play as much as you used to. Or like you're gonna play for your videos only, or you're rarely gonna just play for yourself. And that's like the only negative I can imagine there is to me starting this YouTube journey and starting to record videos, because I'm loving doing this, and I love that you guys are enjoying the content I'm creating as well. And if there is one downside to it, it is the fact that I don't get to just chill out and play for myself as much as I used to. But like all the upsides there are to me having this YouTube channel definitely cancel it out. So don't take it as me complaining. It's just me talking about, you know, this is how it is, and I always want to keep it real with you guys, and I don't want to tell you how I have 1,000,000 hours in a day and that's how I manage to create 3 builds a day. Not a day, oh my god, 3 builds a day, who can do that? 3 builds a week and still have time to play for myself, because generally in an average week I do get to sit down to play just for myself about once or twice for about 2 to 3 hours, which, I mean, I do also play other games, so that's just The Sims. I do play The Witcher as well, which I'm on my 2nd playthrough of, and I think you guys must be sick of me talking about this game because I love it so much. But you know what? I'm gonna keep talking about it because it's amazing. And don't take it as Sims not being my favorite game. I love The Sims, but yeah, there's quite a few games that I also really like, and I don't just want to be playing The Sims all the time, because I feel like then I would just burn out and not want to play it anymore. So I kind of need a break to play other games as well. Does anybody relate? Do you know what I mean by that? Does anybody feel the same? Anyways, now that I spent like 5 minutes talking about having a YouTube channel and how demanding it is and complaining, I am just lining all the plants and everything with terrain paint and things like that. If you guys don't know yet, you should be using terrain paint in all of your build. It just makes it 100% better, it makes it look more realistic, it gives it more dimension, and it just doesn't look as flat. Like if you guys saw my each room is a different pack challenge, I had cats and dogs for the outside, and there is no terrain paint in that pack, so I couldn't use any, and it just looked horrendous. I mean, it looked horrendous for other reasons, and I'm gonna let you find out the other reasons by yourself because it's a hilarious video. But yeah, without the terrain paint, it just looks so much worse. Everything looks so much better with terrain paint. And now you can see that I have moved on to one of the outdoor living areas. There is actually 3 outdoor living areas in this build. This is the front one with just a couple of seats, and I added tarot cards, or what like I imagine would be tarot cards, to the little conference table in the middle here. Because the 3 girls who live here, they are kind of like celebrity friends, and I think they would be into things like tarot. So I thought, you know what, let's pop it on here, and I'll tell you more about the girls who live in this build in the next video, because then I'll actually be furnishing their bedrooms, or like, I mean, each of them has like a pretty large ensuite, and like one of them has a giant closet, one of them has a YouTube recording studio, and one of them has a music recording studio. So like when I say bedrooms, I mean more like their quarters. And for the decorations here, I just love using this room divider from Island Living. I think it's super pretty with the little fabric overhang, and the plant, the tall thin plant that comes with Island Living is also amazing. I think we need more tall thin plants in The Sims, because a lot of them are really wide, and I mean a lot of plants are like that in real life, but if you have a tall and wide plant in real life, you can just put it up against a wall and it will, you know, lean on the wall and not clip through it like in The Sims. So I think it would be cool if we had more thinner plants so that we could put them in places like corners and just like little empty spaces. And now I am doing the little grill outdoor area kind of thing. I don't know why I took out the monkey bars, because I already knew that there was not going to be a child living in this build. But I thought this could be like a little hangout place for them and their friends, where they can just grill some hot dogs or tofu dogs or something, some veggies, things like that. And just chill out, you know, have some drinks. I put down a kava bowl so they can have some kava and things like that. I do decorate the area a little more with plants later on, because I'll sort of, after I finish doing these outdoor areas, I'll come back to each of them and add more plants around it to sort of like work it into the environment a little better. But again, you can see me using terrain paint to line this area a little more, and then around the terrain paint I'll add some plants to make it a little more natural. And you know, one could argue that my builds look way too overgrown to look natural. But, you know, shut up. It's my builds. I do what I want. And now I am doing the back outdoor area, which is just a little lounge area with 2 lounge chairs and a little umbrella over them. And I rarely use this umbrella from Seasons, but it's actually really nice to make it feel a little more full, and just like it looks realistic that you would have that, of course. And I added this like little statuette kind of thing over there, and yeah, this part is basically pretty simple. And yeah, now I'm just coming back to terrain painting the front, and I'm just gonna add a few more plants, and that's gonna be it for this video. So tell me guys in the comments. I think I asked you to tell me like 3 or 4 things already in the comments, but if you haven't told me any of them yet, let me know what your typical builds in Island Living look like. Like, what do you like to build the most with this pack? Because I do feel like I enjoy like shacks and things like that so much. But then again, when I was building this like gigantic mansion kind of thing, I really enjoyed it. So I may go on to build more luxurious builds in Island Living, which I don't usually do. When I build in Island Living, I usually go smaller. I usually do beach houses or shacks, huts, off the grid buildings, things like that. I think this is actually my very first time building like a mansion in Sulani or something like that. Not even mansion, just like a big rich house, if you know what I mean. And I also added quite a bit of like cacti and things like that, and more base game plants, because I didn't want it to just be the Island Living plants everywhere. And since I was only using Get Famous and Seasons for this, besides that, it would just be Island Living plants. Anyways, now we are moving on to the screenshots, which I'm not gonna lie, I love the screenshots from this. I'm really happy with how the outside of this build turned out. I'm a bit more happy about the outside than I am about the inside. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to have another part coming, as I said, in like 2 or 4 days. And I hope to see you back on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And don't forget that I'm also going to be doing a Twitter giveaway once I hit 300 subscribers on here. So make sure to subscribe to be eligible for that. And that's all from me for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!